Jerry Happs has been writing about rural life and country living for more than 40 years. His latest book is an autobiography.
Jerry writes about the journey that took him in a direction he never expected, from a small farm in Waushara County to becoming a college professor at the University of Wisconsin. I love that picture. That's Jerry and his 3 kids. The book is called Once a Professor, a memoir of teaching in turbulent times. Welcome back, Jerry.
Welcome back, Jerry.
Glad to be back.
Always great to see you.
This is great timing. It's Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
I should pay attention to those things.
Why did you decide to write an autobiography?
Well, I didn't. On my own accord, my editor, Kate Thompson at the Historical Society Press, said, Jerry, when are you going to write about what it was like during the 60s when you were teaching? And I said, never. And she said, well, you should think about doing that. And so I sat down. One of the things I've done over the years is I keep a journal. Almost every day I write in a journal. And I have journal entries all through those 60s years that were turbulent. Turbulent is a mild term that's used in the book.
But getting to that point, you're growing up on a farm in central Wisconsin. University professor?
Yeah, where did you take the left turn?
In fact, in the book, someplace I write, I never wanted to be a professor. It's true. I went to a one-room country school, for heaven's sakes, for 8 years. And there I thought, well, what a wonderful thing it would be to teach in a one-room country school. That was my goal. And then they closed all of them. So I couldn't do that. So now I'm in high school. I thought, gee, it'd be wonderful to teach in high school. But then I'm off to the Army, and I'm thinking, do I really want to spend time teaching in a high school? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I could have done it. I had offers. And I came back after the Army, and I did my master's degree, thinking about what in the world do I want to do with my life. And it occurred to me that maybe, just maybe, I could be a county extension agent. A county agent. My gosh, they were farm people, a county agent.
Yeah, they're God, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And by golly, I could do that. They hired me, and that's how I started. Well, I didn't realize at the time that the county agents were also faculty members of the College of Agriculture here in Madison. So here I am, this little farm kid, not knowing where in the world he was going, with my master's degree, and now I'm an extension agent. And I had reached my pinnacle. That was it. I would be happy to do that for the next 25 years. That's not how it worked out.
You had to become a professor. Okay, let's fast forward to the 60s and the turbulent times. What was it like to be a professor on campus in those days?
Well, in one sentence, one day, this would have been about 1969 or 70, I was tear gassed twice in my office in one day. Does that sort of summarize what it was
kind of
like?
But it affected your students so
Well, it did. And one of the interesting things during that time is that the university threatened to close. Some did across the country, but we never did. Our university continued to operate all through those years. There was a threat at one time that there would be barricades at the entrances to the universities. Everybody had to have an ID and be checked, but they didn't do that either. We came very close to closing, but we didn't.
How did it change your life?
I can't even imagine.
Well, it was tricky because I had, and I don't know if you were aware of this, I spent 10 years in the Army Reserve.
Right.
And at that time, I was a captain in the Army Reserve. And here the National Guard are on campus. And I can see them just out my hall window. They're a TC 16, I think it was. That building's gone now. That was the ROTC offices. And the student protesters would, at noon, would line up around the TC-16 building, and then the National Guard would come, and the students would throw stones at the National Guard. National Guard would lob tear gas at the students. And I'm thinking, which side am I on? Yeah. And as I thought about it, and as I read about it, and I had friends, lots of friends that were in the service, and everybody in my high school class was in Korea. I missed Korea because of ROTC. And I'm wondering, but the more I studied it, the more I thought, you know, the students have a point. They really have a point. Not the radical ones. Never was I into this business of burning down buildings and trashing, breaking windows and all that sort of stuff. But the idea of protesting is something this country is known for, and is generally applauded. A lot of people were upset with it. Here in Wisconsin, and I was working at joint appointments with Extension all along, I would travel up north, and the folks up north, when they'd see that I was driving a university car, their first comment was, when are you going to take control of those students? Why can't you control what's going on down there in Madison? The world's gone mad, and you people are suggesting that it should happen. One time I was driving a state car, big white thing, University of Wisconsin, a bullseye, and I stopped at a town up north. I won't mention the town, to put in gas, and they wouldn't put in gas.
Really?
He just swore at me.
What a unique perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Once a professor, a memoir of teaching in turbulent times. Jerry, thanks for writing it. I'm glad you got talking to
it's
it.
a history lesson, and what a gift for your children,
It was a difficult book to write, but also I had all these journal entries, and so I have a lot of them in here, a lot of journal entries.
Pick it up wherever you get books. Welcome back. Thank you for being with us today, Jerry. You got more books in the pipeline. We'll see you soon.
I do.
All right. He's always writing.
Good to see you, Jerry.